Ecotherapy, nature therapy and a health and wellness coaching session at Point Loma Nazarene University, San Diego, California. Hi, my name is Alyssa Ward. Nature appears to act directly upon our autonomic systems, calming us, but it also works indirectly through facilitating social contact and through encouraging exercise and physical movement. Before I continue with this presentation, it is important to note that all quotes in this presentation have come from the nationally acclaimed book, The Nature Fix by Florence Williams. If you are interested in more research related to ecotherapy, please see the research review paper, which dives into research specifically related to the information presented in this recording, with evidence-based support from recent literature. And finally, all photographs in this presentation have been taken from the Point Loma Nazarene University Instagram page. My role as a health and wellness coach, as I am preparing to sit for the National Board Health and Wellness exam in a few months, is to listen, to ask questions, and to reflect on what my students are saying. I am a professor by occupation. However, I have been meeting with students in a mentorship type of role for the past decade plus, and more recently, these last few years, have been offering a health and wellness coaching session in an effort to prepare for my upcoming board exam. For this project, I will present the usefulness of ecotherapy, which I will refer to as nature therapy in this presentation, while conducting health and wellness coaching sessions. It will be a mix of a session flow along with interspersings of suggestions and wonderings for my fictitious student. I am not a practitioner who regularly works with clients, so I will be presenting a treatment plan in an effort to best show how I regularly try to add small bits of nature to the already busy lives of my students. In an effort to best set the scene, I have chosen a handful of pictures of my university so you can better visualize where the sessions might take place and what our nature looks like. We often think of mountains and forest as nature, but in reality, a simple walk in the park can be beneficial. Here in San Diego, California, our nature might be a bit different than what you are imagining, so let me take you through a quick tour of our campus. We sit directly next to the Pacific Ocean, meaning our sunsets each night are quite glorious. Directly in between the campus and the sea itself is what we refer to as the cliffs, or an area that has trails, canyons, and paths that lead down to the sea itself. It is quite common for students to take a run along the cliffs, meaning the path that runs adjacent to the sea itself. Just south of our campus is a naval military base, and to the east and north of our campus are multi-million-dollar homes. In between the east part of the campus, there's a trail that runs the entire length of the campus, which offers a mulch path with foliage, some edible, and some for beauty, and that I often take students on as we then exit campus and walk around the neighborhood. Once again, my role as a health and wellness coach, as I am guiding my students in the direction of creating what is known as SMART goals, goals which are specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic or relevant, and timely, is again to listen, to ask questions, and to reflect. Let's begin our journey together. When students sign up for a health and wellness coaching session, I give 4 options for our sessions: to meet on Zoom, to meet in my office, to meet while sitting outside, or to take a walk. I've met with over 40 students this semester, and at least 30 of them have requested to be outside, and at least 25 of them have requested to go on a walk. Here's the emerging European Coda on public health from Finland, Sweden, and Scotland, encouraging people, especially distressed populations, to walk, often together, and provide safe, attractive, and naturalistic places for them to do it. The research also suggests some places to go: forests and coastlines. Brits go even more crazy for the coast than they do for the woods. Basically, the closer you live to the ocean, the happier you are. Session opening. When starting a session, it is important to get a feel for how my student is doing right now, in the moment. So I usually like to ask a somewhat silly question, but one that allows for me to truly understand their present feelings. For example, if you were to describe yourself as weather, what is your forecast for today? Or if you were to describe yourself as an animal, what animal best describes your day so far? Not only are these questions fairly light, but they also then open the door for us to talk about nature, especially if our session happens to be a walking session. During the course of our session, as the student shares with me the topic or goal they wish to discuss during our session, I ask questions about what has been going well, what they've been successful with, and affirm their strength. I also encourage them to dig a bit deeper, and at some point during our session, I ask for permission to explore some creative ways they might be able to come up with to meet their goals by using their surroundings, our campus. It's during this time that we usually then chat about our campus and the variety of places we might be able to find a bit of nature here and there. The following slides are suggestions students have come up with, as well as some suggestions that I've made during our time together. Nature science. So research has shown that the mere smell, sound, or sight of nature can change your brains and potentially improve health and educational outcomes. Phytoncide is a substance emitted by plants and trees. It has been shown to have an antibacterial, stress-reducing properties. For example, maybe taking a walk on the path behind our campus to smell the trees. Geosmin, a compound found in soil said to have antiviral properties. For example, maybe my students might sit down by the cliffs on the ground, touching the clay and sandy soil. 3, noises. Studies have shown that exposure to man-made noises such as planes, traffic, trains can make our sympathetic nervous system react, elevating our heart rate, our blood pressure, and stress hormones. Conversely, sounds of nature, so maybe on our campus the waves crashing against the cliffs or birds flying by, have been linked with consistent improvements in mood and alertness. In health and wellness coaching, simple reflections are used. For example, I might say something such as, "It sounds like you were saying that you've been really busy with schoolwork lately and that you haven't had much time to spend outside." They might then reflect more on this, and if it seems fitting, I might be able to ask, are there times in your day when you might be able to take a different path? If you're walking from your dorm to the cafeteria, are there other routes that might allow you to feel like you're stepping away from the norm? And even though you're still getting from place A to place B, an alternate route might allow you to see or smell a tree. Other times during a session, aspects of appreciative inquiry are used, which is the act of recognizing the best in my students, affirming their past and present strengths and successes and potentials. Sometimes during a session, I will ask them, "Can you think of a time when you were really happy on our campus?" 9 times out of 10, it seems that their answer has something to do with the geographic location of our campus. Stopping to watch the sunset, exploring down by the cliffs, being outside with friends. If this is the case, then I sometimes ask them, "What is the best thing about our campus right now? What do you love the most?" This then sometimes leads to an opening where I am able to ask them about sitting down at the cliffs, right on the ground, touching the clay and the sandy soil. And usually, not always, as I have had a few non-dirt liking students, they smile and say, "Yeah, those have been good times. I should do more of that." If our session is taking place outside, oftentimes a bird or a flock of birds flies by. There's a wild flock of parrots that lives in the neighborhood, and they often fly by as well. They aren't particularly beautiful sounding, especially when they are squawking outside your dorm early in the morning, but they are wildly and strikingly beautiful with their bright green, red, and orange feathers. This often leads to conversations about noises we hear when outside. Specifically on our campus, the sounds of the waves crashing against the cliffs, or again, the birds flying by. Viewing nature. Studies of hospital views have found that beds looking out a window may lead to better clinical outcomes. Similarly, views in offices and schools have linked nature views with higher productivity, lower job stress, better grades, and less aggression. Often during a session, students bring up schoolwork, either as a barrier toward physical activity, which is a topic that comes up a lot, or just in general when doing a check-in at the beginning of a session. When this topic comes up, I often ask something such as, "Are there places around campus where you might be able to do your schoolwork outside, or in a building that is facing the ocean?" Which always seems to open the door to possibilities aside from sitting in the dorm, facing their white wall, not enjoying the scenery outside. The immediate and gradual benefits of nature. Research reports benefits such as improved cognition and creativity, lower stress and anxiety, and lower blood pressure, among other benefits. The self-determination theory, or the ability for us to reach our own highest level of motivation, engagement, performance, persistence, and creativity. Basically, we're capable of finding nature despite being in an urban setting. During our health and wellness coaching sessions, my job is to foster and facilitate my students as I ask them questions, inquire of their current successes, and reflect on their current life happenings. Despite being on a campus mostly surrounded by urbanization, we're still able to reconcile with nature. Being in nature reduces the array of cognitive inputs, allows us to think more clearly, and restore cognitive energy. Even the effects of viewing nature photos has led to indications of clearer thinking and lower anxiety on tests. During a session, one of the coaching prompts known as strategies encourages a coach to explore possibilities to navigate challenges and to help my students progress toward their vision. Sometimes an unexplored possibility might be the very environment around them. This slide shows a roadmap of just a few of the places around campus where one might pause, breathe, and just for a few moments remember where they are, what they have access to, and to remember the incredibly healing power of nature. Despite the positive benefits of incorporating nature into sessions, it might seem a bit overwhelming to clinicians or even to my students, as they may think of it as the extremes, buying hiking sticks and a backpack to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, going surf kayaking out in the ocean, sleeping outside under the stars, and more. Whereas in reality, it can be as simple as sitting outside during a session, walking along a trail instead of on a paved road, or pausing when walking from class to class to look out at the Pacific Ocean. In the end, nature is not a cure-all, fix-all solution, but research shows that something as simple as going outside for as little as 5 minutes a day can boost well-being, improve relationship skills, reduce stress and aggression, help focus better, reduce symptoms of ADHS or ADHD, and to improve impulse control, all of which my students can benefit from. Thank you for being attentive during this presentation, again titled Ecotherapy, Nature Therapy and a Health and Wellness Coaching Session at Point Loma Nazarene University, San Diego, California. The references, as mentioned before, come from the incredibly amazing book, The Nature Fix by Florence Williams. And once again, all of the pictures come from Point Loma Nazarene University's Instagram page. Thank you for your time.